Alright, welcome back. In this lecture, I wanted to look at being able to translate English phrases to algebraic expressions. Okay, this is a concept that a lot of students struggle with, being able to go back and forth from an English sentence into an algebraic expression and to do it correctly. So I wanted to look at some keywords and to be able to show some examples on how to go back and forth from an English sentence into that algebraic expression or equation that would be used to solve a problem. First, we've got a bunch of different keywords that you can look for. So what I did is I wanted to break these into the main algebraic mathematical operations that we have. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponents. Those are the big ones. So notice under addition we've got different types of words you can look for. Add, sum, plus, more than, increased by, total, things like that. And same for subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponents. However, there are a few additional phrases that have additional meanings that I wanted to be able to share. One of those is called a turnaround phrase. A turnaround phrase essentially means I like to call it stuff that is written behind the operation goes first, and the stuff in front of the operation goes last. The biggest way you can determine if you have a turnaround phrase is you have to look for the phrase more than or less than. Okay. So when we're talking about more is signifying that you are going to add. Than signifies what we call turnaround. Less is going to signify that you obviously subtract. And again, than means your turnaround phrase. Now, the other key or big time phrase that we have is we have ones that mean parentheses. Okay, there we're looking at things that say the sum of or the difference of. Both of those signify that you are going to have a parentheses, okay, which means whatever comes exactly next. So this next part is what would be put in the parenthesis piece. So you would have a sentence that might say something like 3 times the sum of 2 and a number. So 2 and a number is what would go in the parentheses. The sum here tells you the operation, and then whatever came first is on the outside. And so those are some two major ones that kind of usually get left off, but they do show up in a big way, and so I wanted to be able to point those out. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the phrase a number, in most cases, this is where you're going to replace it with a variable. Now, most students choose X, but remember you have 26 letters in the alphabet, and so you can pick one and have fun with it. Since most students choose X, I do choose to go ahead and let most of my examples kind of be the same. And so we're going to go ahead and use X to signify a number in some of these examples. So essentially, all you're ever going to be asked is you may be asked to translate the expression for the English phrases, but you might also be asked to solve. So you need to make sure you read your directions very carefully. Here, we just simply want to translate from English into an algebraic expression. So I have 7 more than a number. So this more than piece, this is that turnaround. And because it is the turnaround, that means this part here goes first, and this part here goes second. So 7 more than a number is going to mean X plus 7. Let's look at another. 4 less than a number. So again, right here is going to be your turnaround. Again, it means that this part here goes first, and this part here goes last. So this is going to be X minus 4. Okay. Let's look at a few more. So I have the difference between a number and 3, all divided by 7. So all divided by 7 essentially means I'm going to have a big old fraction where 7 is on the bottom, and what's going to be on the top is going to be the difference between a number and 3, so X minus 3, where the minus means difference, and a number is represented by X. The sum of twice a number and 4 times the number. So twice a number, 2x, I'm doing the sum of, so that's plus, and then 4 times the number is going to be 4x. Now how do I know if I change to a different variable? Well, that's simple. If you were changing variables, the word you look for is another. If you don't see the word another or a different or anything to that effect, then you are referring to the same variable you used in the very beginning. Okay? 3 times the difference between a number and 8. Okay? So we're talking about 3 times the difference between. Well, when we're looking at this phrase, the difference between, that is going to be your parenthesis phrase. This is your parentheses, which means this stuff on the back is what goes inside. Okay, so this part here goes inside your parentheses. That means this part here is outside your parentheses. And then the difference right here, this is your operation. So I have 3 times, so 3 times, and I'm going to open my parentheses. And I'm going to do the difference, so I'm going to subtract a number minus 8 and close my parentheses. Okay. Let's look at another. Here I have 9 more than. So more than, this right here, is going to be your turnaround. That means this part here, twice the sum of 17 in a number, is going to go first. The other part that I have with it is right here I have the sum of, which means parentheses. It also means that this part right here goes last. So let's take a look at that. The part that's underlined in red goes first, and that says twice the sum of 17 and a number. So what is going first is going to go twice, so 2 times the sum of a number plus 17, and then I have 9 more than that, so plus 9. So there you can see not only how the turnaround works, but also how you can incorporate your parentheses into it. Now this one says the number of seconds in m minutes. So what do we know? Well, we know that 1 minute is the same as 60 seconds. So if I want to know how many seconds are in m minutes, then I have to do 60 times the number of minutes, so 60m. Now let's make it a little more interesting. So I have the cost of purchasing a fishing rod and reel if the rod costs X dollars and the reel costs 8 more than twice the cost of the rod. So what do we know? I have a rod that costs X dollars and I have a reel that is going to cost 8 more than twice the cost of the rod. So again, remember, more than, so here's that more than phrase right here, which is your turnaround. So I have twice the cost of the rod. So twice the cost of the rod, so twice the rod, which was X, and then plus 8 more. So if I want to know the total cost, that says I'm looking at doing the rod plus the reel. So what do I know? I know that my rod was X, and then my reel was 2X plus 8. Last, I have the perimeter of a rectangle if the width is W centimeters and the length is 3 centimeters less than twice the width. So I have the width is W centimeters, so I know width equals W. And then I have length is 3 centimeters less than twice the width. So again, here is that turnaround phrase. And that turnaround phrase says the stuff off to the back goes first. So when I'm looking at my length, I've got twice the width, so 2 times W, and then I have 3 centimeters less than, so I have to do minus 3. And here I want perimeter. So what I know about perimeter is I know my perimeter is width plus length, which is the same as 2W plus 2 length. I know my width is represented by W, so my perimeter here is going to be 2W plus. My length is right here, so this would be 2 times, and then it is 2W minus 3. So those are just some classic examples of being able to translate from an English sentence into an algebraic expression without necessarily solving. All we're simply doing there is we're just simply setting up your problem. So remember, there are those key phrases that you need to remember to look for. Those key phrases being phrases for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, and your turnaround and parenthesis phrases. Okay? As always, please make sure if you have any questions you let me know. Otherwise, remember, math is bananas. So please keep smiling, ask tons of questions, have lots of fun, and as always, I'll see you next time.